Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of Talking Footy. And what a round of footy it was. First week of finals, 4 of the best games we've seen in a long time. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what came out of the games and just assess where the Coasters and the Doggies are at. And Russ, we're going to go to you first. What are you mad about this week? Russo's Rager, he's had it.
Before I start the Rager, because it's only just came out, I think it was only about an hour ago, so I'll explain what my Rager is. Now, I'm not sure for any of our 5 viewers that actually watched this video, Ben Long did a very fair bump on the weekend. Now, I was astounded to see that 1 hour ago, he received a 1-week suspension. Now, what I don't understand is, this is what I don't understand. 2 players are going in for the ball, so they're both attacking the footy. If Ben Long doesn't turn his body, what's going to happen? They're both going to collide heads. So if they collide heads, there's more of a chance of the players getting injured, right? So he turns his body for protection, and just because I'm not sure, probably because he's a little bit taller, I think it was. Who did he hit, Chloe?
McRae.
Yeah, McRae. Just because McRae's a bit smaller, he hits McRae in the neck. McRae's fine. McRae gets up straight away. He's not concussed. Nothing is wrong. Then the AFL brings out this fucking crap that is fucking suspended. I don't get it. Like, how pussy is the game now that is a suspension? Like, basically they're telling people, if you see a player run away from the ball, then everyone gives them shit for being weak. Like, what are these players supposed to do? I don't get it. Oh, makes me mad.
It's a real tough one, Russ. And like, look, even as a Doggy supporter, I definitely don't think he should have gotten a 1-week ban for it. Honestly, like, I replayed that footage over and over and over, trying to figure it out. And yeah, it's just, I think it just shows you how like fucked up the MRO is, honestly, because like looking at it, I was like, okay, yeah, but like, you know, like you said, he had to turn his body. He really didn't have a choice in that sense. Yeah. And then even still in their decision making, I'm like, okay, so, but like, well, I think one thing that's completely fucked with it is the fact that it depends on the outcome. Yes. So like whether they're concussed or not, I'm like, that is so subjective. Like, I understand that they're trying to deter like dangerous conduct and like, you know, because we've got all of this shit about concussions and brain damage coming out down the line. Don't get me wrong, it's a huge issue that needs a lot of attention. I don't think they're doing it right from all of this. Like, yeah, I think that putting it, you know, a lot on whether or not the player is concussed is stupid. You should be looking at like the conduct itself and then deciding whether or not, like, you know, it's bad or you know, how intentional it was. But yeah, but I don't think he did anything wrong. It was a hard crunch. It's finals footy. It's fucking hard on the body. Don't get me wrong, very unlucky in terms of the height difference and stuff, but I don't think it was malicious at all. He was going hard for the ball. They bumped, full stop.
And like the stupid thing with the MRO is now, like, it's probably not even Michael Christian's fault, but he has these like guidelines that he has to follow. And because it was in the head, he has to select that it was head high, which is what's led to the suspension, which is just, it's BS. Yeah, hopefully St Kilda appeal it.
Yeah. I hope so too. Jerry, what are your thoughts, Mr. Gary Ablett lookalike up there?
Very aerodynamic of me. Yeah, where Chloe's going, I'm 100% there. Like, it's this fucking MRO, man. They say they're going to follow guidelines, but it's like, just look at the play. So you look at the play and yeah, exactly. But they haven't done that in like, since Michael Christian's been on board. They literally have not done that. They go, okay, well, these are the guidelines, but they're not actually going, okay, look at the play. That's where my thoughts are. I thought it was a fair bump. Like, I thought it was just pretty plain and clear. It was a fair bump, but because it was head contact, it's like, oh, well, then we're going to go back and we're going to go, okay, well, this incurs 1 week, this incurs 2 weeks. So I'm with Chloe. It's just fucking stupid. So but it's not. I don't reckon it'll change. So they're not going to fucking.
Be frustrating.
I think they'll appeal it. I hope he gets off because he just provides a lot of dash for them off the half back line. So, at the end of the day, it's finals footy. They love it rough and hard. So, I feel like he should be able to get let off for that. So, anyway, that's my thoughts.
Have you got scores at Beach?
The scores.
All right, perfect. Yeah. That's all right. Chloe's got it. Don't worry.
Jezza was reading up the chat.
On the video, mate. I posted in the chat, so it wasn't discussed on here.
He doesn't have to talk.
Don't worry about
this part out, okay? Yeah, all good.
That's all right. Leave it in.
All good. We'll start off with Brisbane Geelong.
Brisbane Geelong.
Port Geelong, bro. Why does everyone hate Port in this chat?
We did not like
He likes the power. No one. We still don't think the power are any good even after winning that game.
I have it here. I have Port Adelaide Geelong right in front of me. And then I said Brisbane. I don't get that.
It's all real Freud stuff. It's all good.
All right, who wants to go this game? We'll do one game each.
Yeah.
Jez.
I'll do it.
Cheers.
Well,
You can do it, mate.
yeah, so Port Geelong, I've got Port 9-458. Bet the Cats 5-12-42. Geez, the Cats cannot fucking play in a final to save themselves. Jeez Louise, they did not look good. The Power just played really well. Got big Charles Dixon down there.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't take a mark, was just a presence down there and provided well. The younger boys like Dersman Butters, all those boys fucking stepped up. Rockcliffe did. Yeah, the X and who called the X Factors? There's a couple of people in here. But they just all stepped up. The Cats, what do we say? They had what? Atkins, Duncan, and who was the other one in there as well, Ross?
Dalhouse.
Dalhouse, yeah, sorry. And then Stanley as well. And you got that in the centre bounce in a fucking final in a game when it was going down to the wire. Exactly. Yeah. It's fucking stupid. So Chris Scott blaming everyone else, I don't get as well. I think it's like, mate, you sort of did the choice that you did.
Yeah, Chris Scott's he's having a go at the umpire at half time. I mean, just focus on your own team.
Yeah.
Like they dominated that first half just because Hawkins is a fucking smart and kicks all these behinds. And he's blaming the umpires.
And that's the thing, Russ, yeah. Exactly right. Hawkins, okay, so with that, Hawkins was being, which I reckon was a great move to the Power. They were basically getting him to lead out to the sides, so basically to the pockets.
Yeah.
And he had 5 behinds. Well, people go, okay, well, Hawkins, he's a fucking spud. Yeah, but have a look where he had those shots from.
Yeah.
He was having the shots from
fucking 2 ones that he should have kicked, I reckon.
Yeah, well,
I don't get, I don't know if anyone remembers the one in the second quarter. He marched it about 20 metres out and he just played on straight away and just snapped it with his left foot. What are you doing, man? But why are you panicking? You're the best. You've kicked the most goals all year.
Coleman medalist.
And you're rushing, mate. Just relax. You've kicked a few points. Who gives a shit? Just take your time.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
And Port killed them based off of that. And just, I just think Chris Scott, Razor Ray for bouncing the ball is fucking stupid and all these sorts. And like, Ray's had a bit of me time. We all know that. But
Chris Scott just finds anything to argue about. That doesn't like the way he bounces the ball doesn't affect the game.
Yeah.
The players play. That's what affects the game. So don't get angry at the umpires because your players aren't playing well.
Yeah, like his gameplay, I don't like their gameplay. It never stacks up in finals. Like they just do this stupid kick mark. It's not going to work in finals. Like it never does.
No, especially when Port Adelaide off the tip of the bounce, pressure was up. Like pressure gauge. Don't know how they judge it. But pressure gauge was skyrocketing through the roof, and they want to play kick mark. I'm like, sometimes you just need to get it into your forward line. You just need to get some constant inside 50s because Port just from the tip were on top of that game from the start. So,
I mean, I've been saying it for years. Chris Scott is like, I don't think Chris Scott's a good coach. Like he just has a good list and the recruiters just like recruit good players. Well, like they only won in 2011 or whenever it was he started. I think it was 2011.
Yeah, 2011
when they won their last flag. It was only because it was his first year coaching and he had superstars in the team.
Yeah,
what's he actually ever done as a coach? He hasn't gone through a rebuild or anything like that. He's just inherited a good list.
Yeah, I've said that all along. I know I hate Geelong as a Hawthorn supporter, but like he got that grand final, give it to him on a plate.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, sure. Of course he did.
And since then they've gone 4-12 in finals. So it's
a good debate to have. I just don't. I don't rate him as a coach at all. But
I think a lot of Geelong supporters actually don't like him. So,
well, it's frustrating when you keep losing in finals. Obviously, it can't be the players every single time because you have different players every year. So it's got to be something else. It's got to be the coaches.
Well, it has to be. And when you make decisions like having what Jez said, having those 3 in the centre bounce in a critical time of the game, like is that good coaching?
It's the last quarter. And you have those guys aren't bad players, but you can't have all them 3 in the centre at any time of the game.
But they're not like Selwoods in Dangerfields. They haven't been established in the fucking centre. Like they haven't played in the centre all year. So like, why are they going to play in the centre in a fucking first qualifying final? It's fucking stupid. Like, that's why it's fucking.
They're struggling to get it out of the centre. What's the point of having Dangerfield in the forward line? He's not going to get the ball anyway.
Yeah, that's another thing as well.
Yeah.
Chloe,
the power, but I don't know. To me, that was like the other qualified. A lot of the other games I found were better skilled than the Port Adelaide Geelong game. I thought the other games were probably better as a spectacle. But I don't know. The Power still haven't convinced me yet that they're going to like win the grand final. Like for me, they're still not the premiership favourites. But
yeah, it's a tough one. It is a tough one considering how well all the games went this weekend. I don't know who's a premiership favourite.
It could go to anyone. Like any team that won this week. Like even if you look at the Pies, if they play like that, they could win the flag. Like honestly, that's how good they were. So
yes, you may.
Thank you. No, it was all good. Yeah, look, I don't have any like super strong opinions on Chris Scott as a coach, but I think, you know, judging from their finals record and even how they played on, when was it, Thursday? Yeah. Or Friday. I'm getting my days mixed up.
You're right.
Yeah. I think it just showed that he can't adapt. He would just like, you know, stick to whatever plan they've got and then that's it. It's just do or die. So that, I think that was really frustrating to watch. I think it was interesting to see. I guess it was good to see because, you know, I think this is something that we spoke about a lot in the last ep. That, you know, both teams were relatively good at shutting down Hawkins and Big Charlie Dixon. So I think that was actually good to see. And I think I think it just goes to show that, like, you know, when those players don't have a big game, I think more so for Hawkins, I suppose, that's where your other players have to step up, and Geelong just didn't do that.
Yeah, for sure. Great call.
Yeah. And I think our X factors were pretty good. Like, I think it was Beach who called out Motlop, who was just an absolute star.
Yeah, he was on fire, Motlop.
Yeah. And then a couple of other players, you know, stood up as well. Like Ollie Wines, I think was quite good. Like, you know, number one in disposals. Lockie Henderson was, you know, pretty solid for the Geelong defence, even though they lost.
Yeah, he's pulled it from nowhere this year.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, 100%.
There was some sad news coming out of that game for Geelong, considering how well he played. Selwood's gone into surgery on his finger. But for me, he was best on for a good 3 quarters there for Geelong by mile. So
for sure.
Definitely.
After most of that second quarter, that's when they sort of started to get on top.
Considering since he's come back from the injury or whatever he did, he's only been playing like 60%, 50-60% of game time. He played I think he played like 83% of the first half, so he only spent like 5 or so minutes on the bench. So he was huge. So that's a big loss for them.
Yeah, I think they said he still might play this week. So who knows? Like he's pretty tough. So
he's a warrior, and he'll probably put it together with some tape or something. And be like, I'll be all right.
Super glue.
They can't not play him this week. Like they really need him. So
yeah.
I think he pushes through and plays.
Yeah. Well, and that thing as well, why did Geelong in the finals go chip kick? Like, why don't they play like they do in the regular season? Like, in the regular season, they actually like take the game on. And Chris Scott's got in his head, we got a chip kick in finals. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because I find it pretty fucking not great in the rain department.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
It's just frustrating to watch. And like I said, I think it just shows that, you know, for whatever reason, they're just really unwilling to adapt. Like when shit isn't working, they're just like, they'll just smash it and, you know, kind of hope for the best. It just,
exactly
didn't
right.
work.
But he's been found out in finals a ton, like, and it's the same game plan. Like, it's all this chip kick, and it's all just like, so for example, like, Dangerfield stayed in the forward line for fucking 15 minutes. And it's like, well, why don't we get him in the centre and actually get something going? Because the delivery to him wasn't even there that much. Like, it's okay when you're playing Sydney in the last round because at least you can beat Sydney because they're fucking like 14 behind you. But when you're versing like fucking, like as much as we give shit to Port, like they were the best team of the year. Like, so I don't get what. I'm honestly like baffled. It boggles the mind, like some decisions he sort of made in finals gone by as well. It's just like I don't know where they go in finals. Like what do they need to do? Like I actually don't know. Like what do you guys reckon in terms of like where they need to go? How do they win a final?
They got beat on the outside the whole game. Every time we got to the outside, Port were able to kill them, and that's just because of that chip mark. Unless you're they are a good kicking team, like you said, against a team like Sydney, but you can't do that against a team like Port Adelaide. You need to play on instinct and you need to play down the corridor because as soon as you turn the ball over, they're out and they're straight out. I think exactly. Motlop kicked, I think, 2 of his goals from practically the goal square.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's an example of how poor Geelong are at that kick to kick when the pressure is on. So
yeah, for sure. I think like especially like when they play Collingwood next week as well, Collingwood set up defensively well too. So if they're slow, they're just not going to score.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so Friday night. Who wants to take Friday night?
I don't know. Well, Chloe will take the Bulldogs game. Russ, what game do you want?
Obviously.
You take Saturday, mate. I have to take Collingwood West Coast.
For obvious reasons.
I'm going nuts to that game.
No, that's all good. All good. So we had Brisbane winning this one 10-9-69 to Richmond's 8-6-54. Cameron probably being best on ground for me, kicking 3 goals. Was really up and about. Really liked Brisbane, the way they played. You could kind of tell from the tip that they were up and about and they're ready to win it. I feel like the Big O was huge in the ruck for them. Obviously, Richmond don't have their number one ruckman in Soldo, but Big O all around the ground was huge. Lockie Neal, after a quiet first quarter, having 0 touches, had 8 touches and a goal by half time. So he really lifted in the second there. But for mine, McCluggage was the one that kind of broke the lines the whole game. He's a good wingman, a proper wingman, probably should have made the All-Australian team, but his work ethic is just absolutely huge for the Brisbane Lions. So, and the Brisbane Lions defence, they need applaud more than anything. The amount of ball that went in there, and I think it might have been the third quarter or even the fourth quarter, from Richmond, there was just ball after ball after ball, and they kept them goalless, and then they kicked 2 at the other end. So
that was amazing, especially that second quarter. Richmond had it there for about 10-15 minutes. And
ages, yeah.
Their defense stood up so well. Like I honestly, I don't know. I haven't watched Brisbane a lot this year. I just realized how bloody good Harris Andrews is. He's so good.
He's
like, you cannot compare it. Like, to think people thought Jacob Weary should have made All-Australian is beyond me. Harris Andrews is so much better.
Not
I think they match up well. Like I said in the last vidcast, I love Harris Andrews because as much as he plays on his man, he loves to come over and help his teammates. So they matched up really well when it came to on Rewalt. Rewalt just sucked and had nothing going his way, but the Leicester matchup on him was unreal because that just released Harris Andrews to come over the top nearly every play. So it's like, for me, it was like watching an informed Luke Hodge off halfback. A height difference, obviously, but like Hodgie always came over the top, always helping out his teammates. And I feel like his leadership from the back line is what gets Brisbane across the line because they were huge.
100%. I agree with all that. But I do think that like Lynch being out was a massive factor because they had bloody 100%. Chol the spud there. He's so bad, honestly. No, seriously, like, he's terrible. He how many times did he drop the ball?
He
dropped the ball so many times. Like no one else was, so you can't blame the Jew or whatever they complain about every time. He was. I reckon, like, if Lynch was there, they could have won. Like, it could have been a completely different game. Because they could have kicked.
Absolutely.
They probably could have kicked a couple more goals in that second quarter. But credit to Brisbane though, they did really well. That was probably Brisbane at their best. They were, and they actually kicked pretty straight for once. So
I was just about to bring that up. Like, it was nice to see. Like, they still had a couple of misses, but when it counted, they actually kicked it through the big ones, which like we spoke about last episode was kind of like probably the biggest hurdle, honestly, that they would have to overcome to get the W, and they did. So credit to them.
Absolutely,
Jared Berry's got to fix his kicker though. He's constantly missing. He missed like 2 goals, I think, on Friday.
Pretty.
He's a really good player, and he just misses from 15 meters out every time.
Credit to Fags as well. Fags is an unreal coach. He just shows so much intensity.
He just cares so much.
He cares so much, and he supports that team with everything. He's just such a smart coach. The fact that he's thinking Jared Berry's played 90% midfield time pushes him forward. I know he didn't kick straight, but he took like 2 or 3 contested marks down there, and that's time off the clock. That's time that the ball's not in Richmond's hands. So it's things like that like it won him the game. But I love Fags. He's unreal coach for
he's my favourite coach by far in the AFL. I really like him.
And Richmond in a way easy 50s as well to help their cause. So there's a bit in that as well.
Richmond's game was kind of summed up by Damien Hardwick nearly missing the welcome to country. So
was it really?
I didn't hear about that actually.
He was up in the box when welcome to country was about to start.
Yeah, he was sprinting down.
He sprinted
Was
down.
he?
Forgot
I
about
missed
it.
that.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
Poor form.
yeah, look, Tom Lynch is a huge out, and I feel like if he plays, they're huge. But yeah, Brisbane were they were outstanding from the tip off, and you could nearly tell from the first bounce that they were on, and they were going to win that game. So
yes, Brisbane's aggression today was really good as well. I really liked their aggression. Like they definitely got under Richmond's skin a lot.
Yeah,
which obviously was the thing that led to those 50s. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, and then like even when Rayner and Cochin were having a little bit of a moment there, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Like young
good on Rayner.
Young Cub
that was really
not
good.
backing down. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, they really took it up to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was
and then,
some. Go.
No, you're right. Yeah, and then like Ben said, like I actually feel like the score just didn't really reflect the game in this one, because for me, like kind of like Ben said from the start, Brisbane were all over them. Like, yeah, there was that time where Richmond had a bit of a spell. They were in their half pretty consistently, but then aside from that, Richmond just looked flat all night. I thought like they just weren't hungry for it.
Yeah, that's right. They were. I've like the 100-meter penalty earlier on. Like from that moment, I'm just like this isn't what Richmond do. It was just like there was another thing about them, but they just gave away so many undisciplinary free kicks in the back half of the second quarter. They ended up losing by 3 goals, and I think there was 3 goals kicked on them from free kicks. So
exactly. And that's exactly what Hardwick said in his press conference.
Yeah, you can't really do much. Players do get angry, but you're in a final. You know that the umpires are going to be on the whistle. They're going to be tough on it. So you just got to be careful with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where the leadership team probably should have stepped in a little bit more and, kind of really emphasized, even just at quarter time break, hey, pull your fucking heads in. Like you said, this is a final. There's I understand, don't get me wrong, the emotion that goes through the sport, absolutely. But, there's a way to channel that away from giving away stupid fucking penalties.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Where was Dusty after half time then?
Oh, he was at the library. He was at the library. He actually took a trip from at half time down to the local library in Brisbane and stayed there. It was very quiet.
Yeah, I was wondering where he went because I couldn't actually see him on the ground in the second
half. I actually couldn't. The one time I saw him, he did pop up. He had an easy kick over the top, but he went for goal and went out of bounds on the floor. That's the only time I saw him. So.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that was.
He was resting in the forward line in his All-Australian forward pocket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. He was hiding behind the point post. Sorry,
he's only a look around.
Okay.
What did you guys think of Jared Lyons as well on Friday night? I thought he played fucking excellent.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah, and he's been huge. Yeah, he's been huge
all year.
So well done.
I think Gold Coast Suns delisted him. That's crazy. Like they delisted him. They delisted him thinking they're picking up Anthony Miles, and then Anthony Miles gets cut at the end of this year. It's just funny.
Yeah.
I don't know why they got rid of him, because that just adds to their midfield. Like he's a gun. He was their best midfielder other than Took Miller.
I know.
He was a gun.
He must have had shit going on outside of obviously the fucking game. Like he must have had, whether it be with coaches or something, it must have been something obviously off field, because why would you get rid of him? Anyways, Brisbane's win.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But exactly. Brisbane got him for nothing, so they'll take it.
Yeah.
Good on Brisbane. I'm happy for them. I'm happy they won a final. They deserved it. So
they deserve to win the flag, I reckon. They deserve to win the flag. I said.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say they deserve to win it. I wouldn't be mad if they won it. I honestly we'll get to it in a minute, but I'd love to see the Saints win it. That would be cool.
Actually, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, well, I guess like you said, Brisbane have been pretty solid all year round. A little bit inconsistent, like we've said 100 times before in front of goal and stuff, but they've definitely got the potential. I think it'll be interesting to see them stack up against who have they got next one? My brain.
I'll have Cats or Pies.
Yeah.
That's a good point. All right, then.
So if they play Geelong, you may as well already tip Brisbane. So Geelong will lose.
Oh yeah, 100%. But pies could be very interesting.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
All good. Well, moving on from the Brisbane Richmond game, Chloe, hit us up with the Bulldogs.
Yeah, look, I'm still recovering emotionally from this game. Oh, Jesus. Like, I don't even know where to start. Oh, let's start with the scores. So, obviously, you know, the Saints came away by this one by 3 points. So, the Saints 10-7, 67 to the Dogs, 9-10, 64. Look, like, it was great first quarter. Don't know what the hell happened during the second half of the game from a Bulldogs perspective here. You know, and then in the final quarter, it was just astounding to see how we could play 13 minutes of incredible, switched on, good footy and almost topple 3/4 of like a very solid effort from the Saints.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like in my opinion, and as a doggy supporter, we did not deserve to win that game at all. Like, you know, you can't expect to win off, you know, playing half a game. But I think it was kind of scary in a good way to see how dangerous and how damaging we can be when we're on. I think that there were a lot of decisions that needed to be made earlier, which would have impacted the game. So, for example, you know, the mismatch between Caleb Daniel and Geary, like what the hell was going on there, Bevo? I was getting so frustrated. Like, Daniel's an amazing player. He's a great kick. You know, they were letting him sort of get pushed around too much and getting really stuck in the back. And then just every time, you know, that ball went to Geary and Daniel, like he's however much, you know, taller, like 2 heads taller than him, he's going to get that ball every time. And for him to have been kept on him for Daniel to have been kept on him for a whole half, I was just so frustrated. So thankfully that, you know, that sort of got sorted eventually. And then, yeah, look, like, I guess we'll get to, you know, future decisions in a second. But, like, you know, I think it just highlighted a lot of flaws that we have in the team at the moment. You know, we need a big key forward. Aaron Norton was kept pretty quiet, and I'm sure he would have been hesitant too, having just come out of surgery as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, you know, like Bruce, like he kicked the first goal and then
This hasn't been his year. He
was loving it after that first goal as well. He was celebrating like he won the grand final.
He was. Grabbing his jumper. He was up and about. And I was like, oh my God.
Then he took a trip to the library and said hello to Dustin. So.
Yeah, it's like absolutely. Like we just need more from him. English is going to be a monster in a few years, but he's still too young. He needs help. He can't do all the ruck work by himself. Dunkley is a great player. He's not a fucking ruckman either.
I don't fucking understand that tactic, honestly. That is the dumbest tactic I've ever seen.
Bro, we've got a great young player in Jordan Sweet waiting in the wings. Honestly, I reckon we would have had more luck if we just brought him up. Even in a final, I don't give a shit. Like, you know, English needs help. He can't do it all by him fucking self. So yes, that was frustrating. And yeah, but like, look, in all honesty, all credit to the Saints. They played really, really fucking well. Like, you know, they had so many players who just slaughtered us. So like, you know, Geary in the first half was excellent. Paddy Ryder was super damaging, and you know, we'll get to him in a moment in terms of where he's at the moment, but I'm absolutely gutted for him. You know, as we talked about earlier, we had the Ben Long and McRae incident. Membry for the Saints was huge. He absolutely destroyed us. You know, he was like first for scoring involvement, for marks, and for, you know, goals in the whole game. He was just on fire. Like all credit to him. And yeah, I don't think there's too much more from me to say on that game. So yeah, what do you boys think?
Yeah, look.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, look, St Kilda played an absolute ripper game and 100% deserved to win it after that. But, yeah, look, Max King was huge, X Factor.
Big boy.
Massive. As soon as I saw that they were playing Marshall, Ryder, King, like obvious, but their height, just those three in particular, dominated. And then even... is it Dan Houston? Dan Houston down back was very, very solid for them.
He was very good.
So their four tools were absolutely unbelievable. Tim English is always going to have a hard time dealing with that. But, you can't do much when Marshall and Ryder are playing like that. Like those two dominated that whole game. So
yeah, exactly.
I thought Butler was really good. I think he kicked one or two, but it was a lot of his ball. It was a lot of his balls he got up the ground and using his speed. And then I actually really like Bradley Hill's game as well. He was really good on the wings for them and really opened up the game. And then also thinking about it, the old man Dan Hanbury.
Yeah, I was going to just say that.
Absolutely.
Turned back the clock. He did. He
fucking oath. Oh my god.
Could almost argue he was best on ground. At least
I'd say he was probably best on ground.
He was on fire.
I reckon he was.
So good.
Yeah, look, you can't do much, but look, the doggies gave it all they got, and they nearly came back and pinched it. But yeah, didn't deserve it. And it's always going to be tough when you're down by so much, or at least a 3 or 4 goal margin. You're always going to struggle to come back, especially with 16 quarters.
Yeah, definitely. And then probably. Jez, anything to add before I jump back into it?
I was going to say, I want to hear what Russ has to say, but you go, Chloe, and then we'll, take it over.
I was just going to say, so I watched the game with my old man, so you can imagine how much, yelling was going on in my household. But yeah, I think like the biggest thing, in all honesty, that frustrated me in this game was that, like, with all like the defensive tactics, like, yes, I understand, the whole zoning stuff, but like, when we're just getting smashed like we did in the second half, I don't understand why we didn't go back to playing man on man. Like, it's just like, yes, it's going to be a bit of a struggle pushing forward, but like, honestly, when we're just getting, smacked like that, and when we've got 3 defenders on, and like, don't get me wrong, like, Max King's a freak. I absolutely love watching him play, but when we've got 3 defenders on King, and they're just not positioned correctly whatsoever, and he's able to jump up and grab it, that's bullshit. That should not be happening. Like, what is wrong with, diverting back to old school a little bit?
Yeah,
like, what is so wrong with playing man on man?
It frustrates me. All this structure, all this zoning crap is what ruins the game. It's what just makes the game so low scoring and just dull. Like, don't get me wrong, the 4 finals are actually pretty high scoring for once, which was actually good to see. Like, fuck, that's what we want to see. Like, fuck, everyone says change footy, change the state of the game, but it's really just the coaching staff that need to change how they coach, because clearly you saw in most of the games when the teams went all out attack, there was actually some goals.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, it's just, and it's just structures, like fucking modern footy for you. It's just all structures and all that sort of stuff. And well, I'll ask Chloe first. Where do you reckon the Dogs go in terms of, like, who do you personally reckon, and then I'll open up to the other boys. Where do you reckon they go, Chloe, in terms of picking up, like, opposition players? Do you reckon they pick up a Brown? Do they pick up, like, who have you got forward and back? Like, just let us know, because it needs to, like, out in pretty much the first week, obviously, it's like, we'll just pass it over to you. Like, what do you reckon?
No, it's a completely fair question. So in terms of like general positioning, we need another ruckman. Whether that's like, Sweet coming up or whatever, we need a key forward, and we need some more height in our back line. So I think Ben Brown would be awesome. Like, yes, he's a little bit, older in terms of the experience line of things, but like, our team is so young. I don't think that's going to be a bad thing at all. I think especially with Dixon leaving, which like broke my heart, but like, it's gotta happen. I think he'll provide, like, that big, tall key forward that we just really need, that Bruce isn't giving us at the moment. And like, we can't just rely on Norton all the time. He needs that support. Even if it's like, having Ben Brown fake a lead first to go to Norton or vice versa. Like, you can't operate with just one tall forward. And in the back, so I know that there was rumors about Darcy Moore coming available, although now it seems like that's getting less and less likely because it looks like he's going to re-sign with the Pies. But oh my god,
it's going to be hard,
having him would be a dream. Seriously, like, absolute gun of a player, and he's one, I think, who's really smart in terms of positioning his body against his opponent as well. So yeah, that would be sick. But yeah, like I said, looking a bit less likely now, but someone similar to him would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Right.
What about the rest of you boys?
I reckon Bulldogs would go for someone like Braden Bruce, someone like that. He's like on the outer at the moment. He's really strong. So he'd be good to help out Tabilish because obviously Tabilish is still quite skinny. So he'd be good to, especially against like a Ryder and Marshall yesterday, he could be someone that just doesn't have to be that skill, but just to bash and crash, sort of just to give English that break.
Like a mummy.
Obviously defense as well. Like, you obviously need another key defender. I
reckon if you can get kind of the 2-in-1 package, if you can get a guy that can go forward, so a tall forward like Bruce, good example, that can rotate ruck like what Ryder and Marshall do. Happy days, because then like Timmy English, when he went forward for a few times last night, he actually he's good up forward, and he's got a beautiful kick on him. So he kicks the ball better than a lot of ruckmen. So if you can get the price of 2 for 1, like a Bruce or something, I reckon that would work wonders for you. And then go for a good key back. Yeah,
I read that. That's a really good point, honestly. And it's quite funny too, because when English was first recruited to the Dogs, he was recruited as a forward. He's never played ruck in his junior year. Yeah, he was always the only reason he got thrown in the ruck was because of his height. That's it. And don't get me wrong, he's doing well for his age and whatever, but he definitely needs backup. And now that you say that, I reckon Bruce would be a really, really good pickup for us. But we'll have to wait and see.
There you go.
Yeah.
Saturday nights at the stadium.
Yeah.
We have the game of, I reckon that is the best game I've seen in about 5 years.
Yeah.
That was hands down. That was just.
I'd have to see.
I wouldn't say 5 years, but absolutely best game.
I do not really
game of the year.
But I was on the edge of my seat that entire game. Like, gee whiz, just the intensity from the outset was absolutely amazing. And fucking my man, Mason Cox.
our man.
USA.
He was, in that first quarter, absolutely turned the game to shreds. He was on fire. He was just fucking marking everything. Oh, mate, was he good? Boy, oh boy, he was great. But yeah, Collingwood I am just so impressed with how good Collingwood were. Like, Eagles played how they should. Like, Eagles played really well, don't get me wrong. Like, they were just unlucky. Collingwood were just so good. Like, I was in awe of how good they were. They were back to how they were last year. Honestly, that's the best game they've played by far this year.
All season, 100%.
They've played for years. Like, that was amazing. Like, I'm really happy they won because they've overcome a lot of diversity this year. They've obviously had a lot of injuries. And they've still got 2 out of their 3 best players out in Sidebottom and Howe. So
yeah,
that was an awesome win for me. Like, really good. Good tactics by Buckley as well. I reckon putting Darcy Cameron in the centre bouts as well to help out Grundy.
Very good. Very good.
That really helped Grundy. It saved Grundy for the last quarter as well. Grundy was huge in that last quarter. Took a couple of really big marks. So yeah.
Well, Darcy Cameron was in the ruck for the last ruck contest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was a great run, man. Yeah, but he competed really well. So
yes, that's right. Big Mace. He was up and about. Kane Corns said early in the week that they were just making up the numbers, and he
proud to be quiet. His third goal as well, which we love. Boys, we're here to play, mate. We are not losing.
Russ, and he's kicked 8 goals in finals. So out of his 3 games in finals, he kicked 8 goals. So
mate, he's clutch, man. He's
clutch.
He's clutch.
He gears up for finals. For 4 weeks in finals, that's his go time. And for 22 weeks, he does fuck all. So fucking that's where we're at.
That's the thing, though. He's such a shit player in the home and away season. And
finals time.
Pull shit like this out of his ass. It's amazing. It's ridiculous. Like, it almost makes me angry.
Yes.
It helps as well. Collingwood were moving the ball so well too. Definitely makes it a bit easier as well.
Very fluid.
Collingwood love a big ground. You could tell playing at Optus Stadium, they were going to love it because the open space, they were everywhere, and their kicking was on point since it was the tip off.
Yeah,
and you knew if they were out in space, they were going to hit a target. That's kind of just what I saw. So.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. I definitely agree. Like, for me, probably Taylor Adams probably best on ground. He was on fire.
Yep.
He just
when he saved that game right at the end with that smother. Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was just he was phenomenal. They were all really phenomenal. I can't really think of a bad player for the Pies, to be honest.
They all did their part.
Played their part.
Yeah.
I mean, just
well.
The game had everything from the start, from Liam Ryan showing Braden Maynard the ball. So,
oh my god, I could watch that matchup all day long.
That's karma in the bag for you. Like after the game, I'd be like, you'd be best friends, like you'd be having a good chat, but in the back of your head, you're like, you showing me the ball, and now you're not playing next week of finals. You're an idiot. Like, I guess it is a bit of fun, and like I'm a footy player, and I love my banter, and I love stirring people. But sometimes it doesn't go your way. So, but I love it for the comedic side of footy. That's for sure.
Sure, and like Maynard definitely beat Ryan in that matchup as well. Maynard was
easily,
yeah, he did really well.
First quarter, Ryan was on top, but the rest of the game, Maynard definitely got him.
Yeah,
for sure.
Ryan was so quiet, like compared to like his usual stand-up moments. Ryan was held pretty quiet throughout the game. Like don't get me wrong, like still kicked a goal in the last quarter, whatever. Like amazing player, but I thought Maynard did a great job.
Jez will know this, but he knows what my thoughts are on Jack Darling, and he absolutely played a blinder.
Jack Darling was actually really good.
Jack Darling was so good. Usually in finals, he's a donut. He's absolute donut.
Yeah, Darling and Kennedy were both good last night, actually.
I was just about to say, dynamic duo, seriously.
And Nick Nat, he wasn't as influential as I thought he might be.
No, I don't really know what he did. So he didn't really do anything, did he? He had a few hit-outs, but that's really it.
Yeah, Grundy was pretty knackered. You could tell that he was going to the bench like every 5 minutes in the last quarter. So he was knackered, but I feel like he did a great job. He did it all he could. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's pretty obvious Grundy's carrying something, but he worked his ass off. So.
Good on
you. Yeah, look, and can we touch on that for a little bit? Like, what do we think is going on with him? Because even when we were watching the game, even Dad was like to me, he was like, "What the hell is up with Grundy?" Like every time the camera was on me, he just looked like really like gutted and sad, and he was like getting tired really often, and like seriously, any ideas like what the hell is up?
Yeah, I think it's just this season. To be honest, this season's just a bit of a roller coaster, and they're like you said, like their staff members are living out of caravans this week, so it's been a bit of a roller coaster, and like they had 7 days quarantine as well, like also during the week, so. They had everything going against them, and you could probably tell that a lot of the players towards the end were pretty dead off their feet.
Yeah. And guess what? Suck shit, Mark McGowan, because now the fucking Eagles have to
McGowan.
Fuck yeah, I'd suffer. Have fun quarantining for 2 weeks.
I don't know for McGowan, the fucking Muppet.
I want to add something. There was a call I saw during the game which had me as bizarre as anything. Taylor Adams tackled someone on the half-forward flank line, tackled him. Then the ball popped out. I think he tackled Cripps.
Yeah, Nick.
And then the ball popped out, and then he ended up. Then Nick Nat ended up tackling Cripps, and Taylor Adams didn't even have the ball, and the umpire called holding the ball when he wasn't even near the play.
That just sums up umpires calls around holding the ball the whole season, though.
You know what? In saying that, I actually reckon last ice skate was actually really well umpired. I reckon it was the best umpire game.
Oh yeah, it was.
I thought it was really good.
Overall,
like they actually had zero. I don't reckon they had any influence on the game.
Well, they didn't have Razor or number 22. I wonder why. So
hey, number 22, he umpired St Kilda Bulldogs. How? He actually wasn't that bad, but still.
Yeah, but how do you get a finals call up? Like that's what I. Like, there's got to be more than 12 umpires in Queensland, New South Wales. There's got to be more. There can't be 12, and that's it. There's got to be more.
So mate, they get tripped to 6 next week, surely. I know 8 next week, sorry. It's 4 umpires per day. Yeah. So surely 22's not getting a gig.
Oh, I don't reckon he is.
That's funny. Kane Corn said during the week that Collingwood were making up the numbers, and then he copped it after the game. So
that gave me life, honestly.
And then he goes all shy when he goes on live on footy on the footy show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Copping it.
Because he knows he's stuffed up. So.
And then he goes ahead and says, Collingwood fans, don't get too far ahead of yourself. You haven't won the bloody premiership yet. And I'm just like, mate, you're digging yourself a hole.
If I was a Collingwood fan, I would be going fucking mental right now. I don't even want to give a shit what anyone says. Oh, my God. I'd be ecstatic. Seriously, I reckon the Pies, like, I'm almost tempted to tip the Pies for next week to beat the Cats. I mean, obviously, we won't talk about that now. But...
Yeah, I reckon Pies,
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm convinced the Pies are going to beat Geelong, honestly. If they play the way they did last night, they'll have no problems.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, they had a lot of obviously diversity in that game, and they probably really rode themselves up for that one game. So who knows if they can keep it up, because they would have wasted.
Well, yeah, that's it.
They would have wasted a fuck ton of energy playing that game, and Geelong's had the 2 extra days off too. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I still reckon like that was their best win. That was their best finals win. I don't know about obviously best win ever, but best finals win.
I reckon that's their best finals win since they last won the grand final.
2010.
Oh,
yeah, that's fair.
I mean, could have. Yeah,
I think it was better than their one than their prelim against the Tigers. Honestly.
What about their prelim against the Hawks?
That was up there. I still reckon.
I just think with the diversity, we thought they've been through injuries, how they finished 8th on the ladder, they were given no chance. Just what they've overcome for me makes it one of their best finals wins I've seen.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even it wasn't the fact that West Coast played shit. It was the way that they went about it. Like they
played better.
West Coast still played incredibly. I mean, watching their movement from the centre clearance into their forward 50. I mean, you can see why they're a fucking great side. Seriously, they just did it effortlessly.
It's amazing. Like they scored heaps of goals from their centre clearance. Things once Collingwood set up, they really struggled.
Yeah.
What do we reckon? Where to from here for the Eagles? Like next season?
They've still got a great list. That's the thing. And, they've still got a lot of talent on the sideline as well. They've got a lot of young players coming through. So, they'll be up there for sure. But for me, they need to make top 4. There's been they finished 5th this year. They got knocked out of finals, and then 2019 season we beat them Hawthorn beat them in the last round. And they finished 5th, and they didn't make the grand final either. So, for me, if they finish top 4, which they should with the team that they've got, they can go a far way because obviously they win, they get a home prelim, and if they lose, they still get a home final, and it's so hard winning in Perth. So
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, the next year's I don't know. I'm a bit worried for them because obviously Josh Kennedy's 33, I think, this year. Or 34, so
I think he plays again. Plays next year. Without a doubt.
I think I'm sure the club would want him to play next year. I think it's more up to him if he wants to play next year. He's definitely good enough. Just if he wants to, really. I think they definitely need him because Oscar Allen's not really ready yet to be sort of that second forward behind Darling. So
but he's getting there. He had a few big moments last night, which was good to see.
Yeah, he did. Did it like Oscar Allen? Like technically, you could say he costed the game, giving away that 50 in that first quarter when he slapped who was it? He slapped in the face. He gave away that 50.
Yeah.
Probably got an easy goal out of it.
That was just stupid.
Like, why would you do that on purpose? There was no need for it. Like I don't understand why you would do it. Like, obviously, it's got to be 50. So, like, why do it? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Bit of a brain fade.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know where the Eagles go, to be honest. Like, in terms of, like, I think they're good enough. Like, they're fine. Like, I don't think they're well, okay, so with this season, what cost them was the fact that they can't. When they went to the hub, they just fucking shit the bed.
They just.
That was literally all it was. So I don't.
They were living out of home.
No, when they went to the hub the first time.
Oh, okay.
In Queensland, and they fucking shit the bed there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Other than that, other than that, they were fine.
So, yeah.
Like other than that, they were fine. Like, yeah, of course, but I don't think they have to change too much. Like they're like I still see them as a top 4 team. So whether the Cats drop off next year or like that's gonna be another thing as well. How the Cats, I don't know how the Cats will go next year as well. Like, will they be up there? Will they lose a couple of like key players to retirement? Yeah, but the Eagles will be fine. I still have them, but guys were better. Oh well, suck shit Eagles, and that's it. Fun quarantine. Yeah.
Right.
Tim Kelly was really bad for me. He hasn't had a good year. He was really bad last night.
He's had games where he's played well, but he hasn't had games.
He hasn't been consistent enough.
He hasn't been consistent.
No, 100%. He hasn't.
They picked him up to sort of finish that last piece in the puzzle, really, and he just gave him absolutely nothing this whole year. So he needs to have a better year next year, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very fair call. Not much to add from me in terms of, where the Eagles go. I completely agree with everything you boys have said. I think, they're a great side. They don't have any, like gaping flaws or big issues that need to be addressed aside from, actually, like, being able to, like, you know, so that they can get into top 4, like just being able to win games away from home.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
That's,
I feel like a lot of players, as soon as we get back to normality, I feel like Tim Kelly, obviously you're living out of home, everything's back to normality. So I feel like a lot of players will lift next year, regardless of the situation, not living out of hubs or anything like that. So it makes a difference.
And I mean, we saw this week all the players could lift in finals, so I'm sure that's like the standard that we'll be hoping for next year consistently.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
what else have we got? Or is that it?
I think
that's it.
I think
we're done. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really got much else to say.
I was thinking about what else we could.
nice.
Yeah, I think that's it. We've talked about the games, and we'll preview on Thursday.
Jerry, what speech you got this week, mate?
I haven't got one prepared. I was thinking about getting another sort of a la Kirky stylings, but we're not going to have that. So, yeah, cheers, whoever watched this episode Talking Footy. We're going to shop it around and see who's going to take it. Hope you enjoyed it. And, yeah, look forward to the next edition on Thursday nights. Previewing the games and seeing what's going on. So, I hope you enjoyed.
Bye.